Hey everyone, Isimemen Jovi here, business and career growth strategist and founder of Fulfilled. Today I have the wonderful, the amazing Stella OKK Common with me. Now, Stella has one of the most beautiful stories that I have had the pleasure of encountering, and working with her in Fulfilled really impacted me in a big way. We had lots of coaching sessions where there were tears because of your story and your transformation. And I'm really excited that you are going to share your journey with us today, Stella, a journey of resilience and triumph and growth and pain all together today. So I'm just really excited to hear more from you, Stella. I would love you to tell us about you. Who are you and what do you do?
Well, thanks for having me, EC. Yes, I will admit to the tears, and I cannot guarantee that there won't be tears in this interview, so bear with me. But my name is Stella OKK Common, and pronouns she, her, and hers, and I am a DEI consultant. Um, uh, and I joined Fulfilled back in a year ago this month in August 2020.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yes, yes, yes.
And so much has happened in that 1 year.
A lot has happened. So, Stella, I want you to share with us a little bit of your background. So, where were you before you kind of met me and decided to come into Fulfilled? What was going on with you in your career and in your life?
Yeah. Well, prior to 2020, I was actually in what I considered at that time my dream role. I had worked, I started off my career in higher education and for the past 13 years, specifically in student affairs in a variety of different roles, but all related to helping students get through the college system, whether it be in housing, um, advising, student activities, multicultural student affairs, whatever aspect of the classroom experience is what my roles consisted of. And before all things 2020, I was doing that on the study abroad journey for college students. Yes, I worked with a study abroad provider in helping students navigate their study abroad experience. So pretty much doing student affairs through an international scope. So I was overseeing the student affairs functions of 7 different countries within Europe and Africa. And so again, dream role involved international travel, and just I was completely happy and fulfilled in that moment. I remember talking with I was in the market for a financial advisor, and I remember a question of, where do you see yourself in 20 years? What age do you want to retire? And I was like, oh, I'm not retiring. I'm in. Like, I can see myself doing this role forever. And so, and then 2020, hit the international sector really hard, March of 2020, working round the clock to bring home our 10,000 students that we had abroad at that time. And by April of 2020, I was laid off. And so that was just a dagger, again, dream job, and just all things crushing down, and so many questions and no answers and all the things. And so just having to pause and give myself time to reset. Personally, we found out we were expecting our second child in February of 2020. And so when being laid off, knowing we have an incoming second mouth to feed, my husband thankfully was still employed. And so we were just like, okay, well, let's just make it work.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately, in July of 2020, we lost our baby. And so I was just not in a good space, not in a good space. And going through those losses of a job, of a child, in a pandemic, was just, there's no words to describe that level of pain, right? And so we have a beautiful, now 4, she was 3 at the time. And after a while, I just said, you know, I'm still here for a reason. With everything that I'm going through, with everything that has happened to me, to us, I faced loss before, but nothing to this magnitude. So about a couple weeks, I was like, okay, what do I need? Just started doing a self-inventory, self-assessment of what do I need?
Yeah.
And I was scrolling through social media and one of your promotional ads came up. And, you know, I wouldn't say it was, from the outside, it may look like it was an impulsive move, but I've recognized, one of the things I recognize about myself is that I'm really aware of what I need and what I want. And so it doesn't really take, you know, when I see it, I know it and I move on it. I act on it. I don't sit on it for the most part. And seeing your ad, I was like, yep, let me see what I can do, you know. And I was very intentional about, I wanted a career, not just a career coach, but just a life coach in general. Christian-based, someone who looked like me, Black woman, you know, just very sure of herself, because at that moment, I wasn't sure about myself. Everything that I had worked for, I am someone who has gone through life and has approached things to avoid that type of pain that I had back in July, August of 2020. And seeing that I'm in this pain and I'm still breathing means that there's still more for me to do. So I talked with my husband, and he was completely supportive. Like, if this is what you need, if this is what you want, let's make it happen. And just took it from there. So there were 2 things, you know, I needed a life coach, career coach, what have you, and a therapist.
For sure.
And those tools, I didn't know what to expect, but whatever it was, I knew it was gonna come get me out of this, this dark place that I was in.
Stella, how did you find the wherewithal, the mental capacity, the ability to invest both financially, but mentally and emotionally in this program, in Fulfilled? Some people, you had every excuse, and I know you're going to share even more of your story. You had every excuse to say, or every reason really, to say, I need time. And you could have taken all the time in the world and no one would have blamed you for it. But even when you came into the program and you had moments where you struggled, but you came in guns blazing, how were you able to create space to still go after your dreams and what you wanted? How did you do that?
Honestly, I will say that I am someone who is determined. If I want something, I recognize that there will be hurdles. And it's what I used to preach all the time to students. Like, college is not easy. Don't let anyone tell you it is. There will be hurdles, there will be barriers. But me as a person knows that it may take time, but I'm you know, I can see the light, but I'm going to stay focused in my steps. One step at a time, essentially.
Yeah.
Um, and I knew I needed people in my ear. I needed my village, and I needed someone who, um, and even with paying, like I needed someone that I would pay. So
Yeah.
the expectation is I'm paying you to push me.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's what you all did, you
Yeah.
know, bringing us to come on these coaching calls, whether we have updates or not. That you all were very lovingly pushing us, saying we want to hear your stories. Where are you stuck? How can we get you unstuck?
Yeah.
And then I needed that. I needed that coach. I needed that 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 those voices in my ear to tell me to keep pushing and keep moving, and going at it from a biblical stance. You know, I grew up in the church. I don't, you know, I believe in God. I am a Christian, but you know, and my family, my culture is very deep rooted Christian faith believers. God heals, God is savior, you know. And so I needed, you know, I needed someone who has, who puts God first, to be the one to be in my ear,
That's good.
to lead me through.
Yeah.
And I knew, and even in those dark times, like I knew my strength and I knew my power, as much as um, as little as I felt it in that moment. I knew it was there, and I just needed someone to help me pull it out.
That's good. Yeah.
You know?
Yes. Yes. And before you came into Fulfilled, you had suffered this loss and you had suffered job loss. And so you were confused. You thought you had your dream job and then it was ripped from you. Talk to me about coming into the program and beginning to do the work. Talk to me about what you began to discover and uncover about yourself.
Yeah. So one of the things, you know, with um, you know, God never gives you anything that you can't handle.
Sure.
Right. And while I thought that was my dream job, it clearly wasn't.
Yep.
Because I lost it. You know, it was gone.
Mm.
And so to me, I took it as, okay, there's clearly something better, because God wouldn't take it away if it wasn't meant to be. And that um, that process helped me get into it helped me in coming into this program and saying, let's just start over. Empty canvas. Yes, I have these 13 years of experience. And that role, I was slowly pivoting out of higher education. You know, so I wasn't on a college campus. I wasn't working on a college campus. And in August 2020, college campuses weren't hiring anyway. Everyone was going through their stuff. So I said, okay, let's just start over. I have these degrees, I have this experience, is clearly transferable. So let me see where I can land.
Yeah.
And I knew I needed to be very intentional of where I landed, because I was still healing and I was still grieving. And I didn't have the strength to wear a mask.
Oh, I felt
So
that.
how can I show up as my authentic self, still in confidence? Because I knew my power.
Yeah.
But I was in pain.
Yeah.
And I needed to find an organization, a space where I can be able to be both.
Yeah.
Unapologetically.
Yeah. And still get paid well.
And get paid what I'm worth for once and for all.
Period.
For once and for all.
Because have you
Get paid.
Stella, up until that point?
I was making a good salary. Now, don't get me wrong. I was happy with my salary, but I knew I was worth more.
Yes. Yes.
You know, I was in a senior level role at 28 years old. So I knew my worth.
Yeah.
And I have this weird relationship with higher education where I kept feeling like I had to jump over so many acrobatic hurdles
Mm.
to prove my worth.
Mm.
While there were so many people in my ear affirming me,
Yeah.
yet
You didn't believe
I
it.
just felt like it shouldn't be this hard.
Mm.
So if it's this hard, then God is telling me something.
Yes.
So let me start over.
And that's
Let me start from the beginning and work my way up from there. Who are you?
yeah.
What do you want to do? What are you passionate about? What if you, what skills do you have? Like just starting over. Because again, I knew my power was there because of my past. But in all honesty, I started to recognize with everything that happened, I was forgetting.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember things past July 2020, before July 2020 or December 2020. I couldn't remember things. And so going through the different portions of the program helped me rediscover who I am.
Yes.
And also unlock things that I have ignored and brushed to the side for years.
Yes.
Several breakthrough moments where I said, okay. I specifically remember a mindset exercise that we did with a coach that you had brought in. And I remember taking the time on a random, that following Sunday morning. And within an hour, I was running around my house screaming because I was able to pinpoint a moment when I was 12 years old.
That's it. That's
12 years old. That happened to me, that dimmed my light, and I didn't even realize it.
Yep. Yep.
After that moment, things changed.
Game over.
Things changed. Things changed. I mean, it was that moment, Sunday around 11 a.m. That's that Sunday morning. And then, Sunday mornings continue to be a moment of reflection for me. Since that time, it's just been a game changer ever since.
And one thing we talk a lot about in Fulfill, we talk about growing that success mindset, killing the narratives that squeeze the potential and purpose and life out of you. And if the enemy knows, if he can get you to believe these stories, you're done. You're done.
And I will tell you, as a Black girl, as a Black woman growing up in America with immigrant parents, how many people and things have dimmed my life. We are conditioned from an early age to shrink ourselves.
Whew.
And I didn't realize the totality of that. Grief and loss will bring up everything that you thought was buried.
Yeah.
And once I realized that I knew I needed to get through this grief because I knew my 3-year-old was watching.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
And I was so worried about her. How do I help her? How do I because we have pulled her out of daycare, so she was seeing everything. Why is mommy crying? Why isn't mommy getting out of bed? What have you. And so finally I said, the best way I can help her is by healing myself.
That's good.
Let her see me go through this. walk through this.
Mm.
And it has paid off. This girl is such an empathic, um, I said this since she was born, that she's been here before. She is an intentional baby that God has given to me, that it just confirmed everything that I'm going through was by design.
Wow.
Pain and all. Um, and so it I owed it to her to
Yes.
do the work
Yes.
and get through and unlock all those things that I had buried inside all those years. And I thought I was over or didn't phase me, but clearly it was.
And we talk a lot about honoring the totality of who you are in Fulfilled. What is the thing you loved when you were 5 that people try to tell you was silly and stupid, but is a part of the DNA and the skills and the talents that God gave you, but so many other people have dimmed and shut out? What happened on the playground when you were 8? What happened to you when you failed that project as a sophomore in high school? How has it dictated and rewired how you see yourself? We deal with all of that in
Yeah.
Fulfill because there's no way you can come into the full identity of who you are. You can boss up and walk into any room with full confidence if you don't deal with the totality of who you've been. There's no way. And so
No
you
way.
see a lot of people walking around and they're broken. A lot of people walking around, they lack clarity. You came into such full clarity because you came face to face with your grief, with your pain, with who you've been. And you didn't let who you've been dictate who you are. And that's something we talk a lot about. Who are you? What is your true identity? Not what have you been through that not shapes who you are, right? So my mom, single mom, we went through a lot financially, but just because we went through so much financially does not mean I am not called to a life of abundance. What is my identity? What is
Thank
my
you.
calling? And we talk about that so much. So you go through Fulfilled and you're beginning to have breakthrough after breakthrough as it relates to who you are, your clarity in what you want. And then something happens with you, Stella. Can you share that with us? What happens right in the middle of the program as you're beginning to gain momentum? You're connecting with incredible people in places you didn't even know you could connect with. What happened?
So one of the greatest things um, that happened shortly after I joined Fulfilled is um, right before I joined, I had secured an interview for this senior level role. And Fulfilled came right in time because when I tell you, you all built me up to rock that interview. I mean, it was an 6 to 8 hour virtual. And by the end of it, I had met with 32 people. I remember in between one interview, I remember going outside and just stretching, meditating, just doing all the things to take care of myself. And I rocked it. I rocked it, but I didn't get the role.
Yeah.
And through no fault of my own, they decided to not hire at the time because COVID was, it was all in we thought COVID was ending within 3 to 4 months. And when they realized, but so much so that the hiring manager was like, week, week, nudge, nudge, I'm gonna hit you up in a couple months, like this position was yours. And so coming off of that, I was like, I've already won.
That's it.
And that was on a college camp. It was still within higher ed. So I was still like, I was like, maybe it's not for me, but maybe it is for me. And so I'm like, okay, so that right there was confirmation. Like God is like, nope, you keep trying to open this door. but also like, you keep trying to open this door, I'm gonna leave the screen open, continue searching. She
Yeah.
said she'll call back in a couple months, keep going,
Yeah.
because clearly you wanna, so I was like, okay, Lord, I see you, I see you, I see you. And so continuing to do the networking and everything, and having you all in my ear, to because networking was not my thing. It was my it was not my thing. But using your strategies and the coaching calls and getting through, and from the networking calls, landing my dream role, showing up in a place where I can finally come in as my authentic self.
Mm.
And we also found out we were expecting again by the grace of God. Um, and then 6 months into the pregnancy, we found out we had to deliver. And our son was born. And while everyone had high hopes and expectations for him, he made his transition 4 days later. So I, at that moment, was done.
Yeah.
I was done with everything. But my village, my village, when I couldn't get up,
Yeah.
my village pulled me up, and that village includes fulfilled. And that village included you and the women of fulfilled. And while that was a all too familiar pain,
Mm.
it was something that I remember about a month or so later joining on a call, and it turned into a devotional prayer hour, because there was so much pain in that room that other women were experiencing. And you looked in the camera and told me, when you're ready, we're going to turn that pain into power. My boss, and my entire team rallied.
Mm.
Because that one of the things with our first loss is that I was grateful that at least that I wasn't employed, so I didn't have to grieve under the gaze
Ooh.
of folks.
Ooh.
And so now I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And I had to make that call to my boss. And she just sat on that phone and cried with me.
Mm.
and told me whatever I needed. But because of the work and because of the healing that I had already done, Isi, believe it or not, my bounce back, I took a week off and I went back to work the following week. Now I work from home. So I said, let me try. Let me see. Because I thought back to that interview that I did, that acrobatic interview, and how I was able to flourish in it. So I said, let me see. Day 2 of coming back, I was already scheduled to do co-facilitator training with my boss. And, when I came back, she was like, you don't have to. You're welcome to, but you don't have to. I said, no, let me, and divvied it up, the facilitation. I was like, no, I'm still good to do my parts, and, but let's just see. We rocked it. It was a heavy topic with senior leaders, and we rocked it. And I can't even tell you how I did it. I can't even tell you, but I knew, I'm like, I've done it before. This pain is different. This pain is new. This pain is heavier on top of the pain that I haven't yet healed from yet, because we weren't trying yet. We got pregnant 3 months after our loss. So it's just all raw. And I was able to turn that acute new pain into power in that moment. A few days later, I got a 30% raise. Without asking, without doing a portfolio, without doing a pitch, without having to. Effective, immediate, Stella, this is what your salary is. So glad to have you a part of the team. If that's not God,
Then
what are we doing? What? At that point, to ignore that would be God just throwing his hands up. And I know he would never do that, but that would be like, okay, how much, what else do you need for me to show you? It's all by design.
When you told us, I mean, first of all, we were so honored for you to share with us. I mean, we are women on the internet fulfilled. We are a group of incredible, compassionate, hardworking women of color who just come together, wanting to live a fulfilled life, land our dream job, all these things. And you told us, and they're like, wasn't a, like, we cried with you. We were like, what is happening? But then
everyone on that call,
of course, we were like,
everyone on, like 20, 30 something women who were all in pain. We were all in pain. This was just a regular call. I'm like, let me just be in community. That's one thing with me that I've recognized about myself, is that I thrive off community. I thrive in a collective.
Yeah.
And there was so much, and I had no intent. I was off camera. I had no intentions of talking, sharing any, and it was just placed in my heart to share, and for everyone to come together and share in that pain with me and cry with me. It was so cathartic. It was so soulful.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond anything that I expected for
Yeah.
this community to give me.
Yeah.
You know, pregnancy loss is, in my wildest dreams, something I thought I would never go through.
Yeah.
Our first pregnancy was uncomplicated, labor uncomplicated, infancy to toddlerhood, just beautiful, healthy, no indication.
Yeah.
Upon job, like just loss after loss after loss. And within a year,
Yeah. You know, on top of each other, just back to back. And yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to come out of this alone. I knew that, but I didn't anticipate the magnitude that this program would impact me.
Mm-hmm.
And that I would impact, like even sharing my story and how it touched so many, and how people were private messaging me like, if you're here and you're doing this,
Ooh.
let me get on my stuff tonight. Like people were DMing me in that moment, like, I got you. Or let me get off my soapbox, or let me stop. Because if you're turning that pain into something, so I
You,
said, okay.
Stella, you inspired us in a way that we could not put into words. Like we watched firsthand your pain become power. And I thought you were incredible at you felt it. You never pretended like, oh, I'm so strong. I just need to keep going. Sometimes people try to turn pain into power by masking pain and then trying to lay over. You felt it, you cried it, we cried, we prayed, you've done the work, you've been in therapy, you're still doing the work, yet you rise.
Yeah.
And the beauty of being in a purpose aligned position that pays you well is a 30% salary increase. I mean, these people are watching you in your element.
Yeah.
I believe the reason that you were able to show up the way you were and the way you did was because you actually like what you do.
Yeah.
I'm sure you were actually looking forward to the co-facilitation. You know your power. You know, you're like, the people need this. This is an opportunity for me to walk in purpose and calling.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to do it. And yeah, you're getting a check for it.
Yeah.
But there's something bigger that feels really good about the work you do. So you
Mm-hmm.
get up and you do it with an excellence and a brilliance, and they can't but pay you more. They won't be able to sleep if they don't.
To
Because
see
they
your worth,
like you.
to see finally being seen. And so that's why I always tell, we as women of color, we as Black women, with all things 2020 that has happened beyond COVID,
Yeah.
it is now time
Yeah.
where we stop wearing that mask.
That's good.
Rediscover who you are, whose you are,
Yeah, that's it.
and it will align. You will find an organization, you will find a company, you will find a role that at the end of the day, you'll be like, was this role designed specifically for me?
That's good. Yeah.
And my answer to that is yes. This role that I am in, doing a lot of reflection of my past, again, relearning myself, I recognized this role that I am in. 20 years ago, I entered college. 20 years ago, I walked into orientation. And you know, the whole, what do you want to be? What do you want to major? What do you want to do? In my head, I had a vision of where I saw myself in my career and the salary and the lifestyle that I wanted. And I knew that that was very idealistic at 18 years old. But I was like, okay. And I have manifested that. This role that I am in, this environment that I am in, this space that I am in, the work that I am doing is what I envisioned 20 years ago. Had I not lost that dream job, had I not gone through my losses, had I not lost my babies, I wouldn't have discovered it. What I have gone through, I am not done processing, but even where I am today, I already recognize that I am a better person. I am a better mother. I am a better stepmother. I am a better wife. I am a better human being because of what I've gone through. And the tools that I have used to go through that valley. I'm still in it. And I often call what I do, I tell folks, I'm like, I'm healing while working. That is a blessing. And that is something that I know is not afforded to everyone. So I don't take it lightly and I don't take it for granted. And the only thing I can continue doing to show my gratitude is to keep going. And to those who will listen and to those who need to hear it, share my story. 2020 has been a year of so much loss for so many people, millions of people. However, that pain can be turned into something so great if people will just allow themselves to go through it. Don't suppress it. Don't hide it. Don't fill it with all these substances and medications and all this stuff. Like, get yourself in a community, get yourself the resources that you need to turn that pain into power. So we as women, we as Black women, it's in our DNA.
Period.
It's in our DNA. Do your family lineage. Find out who you are, whose you are, where you come from, and you will see it's in you. You just need the resources to bring it out. You're not going to do it alone. This individualistic, self-made propaganda that people tell, it's false. It's false. It's false. You need community. You need the resources, the right resources for you, for you. And that involves investment.
It does. It does. It does. And you have to know you're worth it. And I tell people, we spend money every day. We do.
Yes.
I tell people, if you look at your bank account, your bank statements the past 2 years, by the time you add up H&M, Zara, Uber Eats, eating out with your girls, brunch, this and the other, hair appointments, nail appointments, all those things, which are not bad things, it's you could have invested in yourself multiple times.
And one of the things that I think So I come from academia, I'm a PhD candidate. And so for me, I'm like, I got all these degrees. I should know. I should know, you know. But that, all the degrees in the world, you still need, like, coaches. When you go back to the sports, coaches are there for a reason. You have the talent, you have the skills, but sometimes it takes someone else to help bring it out of you and challenge you to places that you don't want to go. And if not for that person, you wouldn't go there.
That's it.
I would have never done that mindset exercise. I never in a million years thought that moment back in the early 90s set the stage for how I have shrunk myself in this world. It's God put me through this for a reason. I'm going through this for a reason. I may not know that reason. I may not ever know that reason until I take my last breath. But while I still have breath in me, I'm going to keep going. Give myself the grace and the space. And just as long as I live in my purpose and continue to do the work, because it's not easy.
No.
But nothing in this life is. Nothing in this life is. If you want something, you go for it. If you feel you're not ready, then get yourself ready. Ask yourself, what is it that you need? Who do you need? And name that.
You get it. And don't let anything stop you. I remember when you were coming into Fulfilled and thinking about the investment, you're like, easy, I might need to ask my mama. Whatever I need to do, it's happening. And that investment and that decision has unlocked a trajectory, because this trajectory was in you, Stella, but it was locked away. And it was the work we did in Fulfilled. You said you don't like networking. You became a networking queen. And then you started to get consulting contracts in addition to your salary. And then you started commanding consulting prices that you would have never, all because that one moment you said yes to yourself. You stretched yourself. You said, I'm going to invest in myself. And a whole other world has been opened to you.
I remember with the networking module that and call that we did, where you talked about how to do networking calls through LinkedIn or whatnot, how to reach out to folks on LinkedIn. And I had emails sitting in my draft folder for 2 weeks.
I remember that. And we just dragged you for like 10 minutes.
Oh my God. And I remember you all lovingly dragged me. Like, what are you doing? But in sending that, my boss, my current boss, was one of the 3 people who responded. And at the end of that networking call was when she asked, are you interested in an opportunity? So I had been sitting on that opportunity for 2 weeks. And after that coaching call, I just hit send. I was like, nope, I'm just going to close my eyes and hit send and get myself ready for the rejections or the ghosting and all the things. And within a few days, sure, And at the end of I was ending the call. I said, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me about this, this industry, X, Y, and Z. And she said, well, before we get off, do you have a few minutes? I just have a couple questions for you. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm thinking she's about to ask me about higher ed, I see that where are you based? And I was like, because I'm based in another state than this firm was in. or is in. And I'm like, well, I'm here. And she's like, are you interested in a remote opportunity?
Well, why? Tell me more.
And I said, why yes. Are you looking for remote? I said, I have no intentions of moving out of state. She's like, I know. And I have a remote opportunity that I would like to talk with you about if you're interested. And here we are. The power of networking.
Listen.
The power of networking. You know, and again, it goes back to, as women, we have been conditioned and trained and taught in so many ways to shrink ourselves and to be seen and not heard, and you know, all the things. So networking is just very taboo. We just don't do it. And then when we report to work, we keep our head down and we do the work and we leave.
Don't network within, we don't connect. Mm-hmm.
We got all these degrees, all these terminal degrees, and can't seem to break these ceilings.
And that's why Fulfilled exists.
And that is why Fulfilled is here. It will give you the power, the motivation, the tools, the strategy, all the things. I joined Fulfilled in August. I officially got the role in December. I started in January. And got my raise, started in January, got my raise April, end of April. I am now making the highest salary I've ever made to date.
Doing what you love.
Doing what I love in a company that sees me, that honors me, that respects me, and lets me be my authentic self. Healing while working. And I am still performing.
She's like, don't think for a second I'm out here being mediocre.
It's not a handout. It's not I'm not on FMLA. I'm not, okay, well, let's lessen your client load. I at one point I was like, I can take more. You can give me more. I'm good. Oh, you want I'm good. I got this. Because I do. Because you're pain and all, I got this. And when I don't have this, give me a second, but I'll be right back. And BRB, I'll be right back. I'm not.
Because you are Superwoman, and Superwoman knows how to rest. Superwoman knows how to own her emotion. Superwoman knows when it's time for a therapy session. Superwoman knows, okay, you know what? I'm gonna get my work done. I'm gonna go home this evening. I'm not gonna get on any extra calls. I'm just gonna, like, Superwoman honors where she is. But when Superwoman shows up, she slays the game every single time.
Give me a minute and I will be right back. That's a Beyonce quote. Give me a minute and I'll be right back. Because we need that. Women, we take on so much. So much. We have, it's not to wear the mask, to do all the things with no rest. It's not sustainable.
It's not.
And what you see are women in these phenomenal roles with these phenomenal degrees, burnt out at 35.
Yep. Quality of life, trash.
Diminished, trashed.
Yep. What are you working for?
Rest. Radical self-care was a term coined by Black civil rights women. For a reason. Radical self-care we have to take care of ourselves before we take care of others. We have so much on our plate. I am the go-to daughter. I am the go-to wife. Well, I'm the wife, but I am the go-to sister. I am the go-to cousin. I am the go-to person in my family, of a huge family.
Yeah.
I pour into others effortlessly, unapologetically. I have now recognized that my cup needs to overflow. And I recognize that when my cup is overflowing, oh, I'm unstoppable. I am unstoppable. So that's what when I talk with girlfriends, when I talk with old female colleagues, and I just see that they're just spiraling. Like, what have you done for yourself?
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you doing for yourself?
Yeah.
How many hours of sleep did you get last night? Rest. When the weary mind has rested, get in community with people who fill you up.
Yeah.
Who fill you up. And those communities sometimes are communities that it's okay that you pay to get in. You paid to get that degree. You paid to get that certificate. You paid to be within that community of that university, to be in that network. And I went to a predominantly white institution. Why would I not want to be paid to be in community with strong professional women of color? That's really the different questions I had to ask myself and answer for myself and process with my husband as I was looking for, resources to help pull me out.
Yeah.
And get me to the next level that I knew that was for me, but I just needed help in getting to it.
Yeah. Because we all need help.
We all need help.
We all need help.
Regardless of where you are in your professional career, regardless of how many degrees you have, there comes a point where you need a lifeline. And why not? Why not? Why not bet on yourself? If you don't bet on yourself, who would? And I know my work ethic. And I remember when I was doing a consult hour with you before joining, you didn't lie. You said, this is work.
Yeah.
This is work. If you're willing to do it, we're here. What questions do you have? And that really resonated with me. Yeah, this is not going to be like a college advisor holding my hand through it. And you show up to the calls, you do the modules, you do the work. We'll check in. We're here to answer any questions. We're here to push you along the way. And every time I said something, I remember one of Alice and one of the other coaches would just be like, pause, and would just lovingly read me.
We love to do that. Yeah, that's what we do. Because
lovingly.
People don't tell people the truth. They don't. And this is the thing, I don't know you from Adam. I'm more interested. My life's calling is to lead and birth leaders. That's part of my calling, to unlock potential. The work I do in Fulfilled, it's selfish. I want to change your life so that you can go change more people's lives, because I can't touch everyone. But if I touch leaders like you, and there are women, when you come into Fulfilled, you are a leader, no matter where you are in your career. It takes a leader mindset to step into something so transformative and challenging. So I am interested in the gold that God has deposited in you. Literally, my job is to pull it out. Because Stella, you are now a better mother, stepmother, wife, friend, D&I practitioner. everything. So every room you step into because of this transformation, you're setting it on fire.
Yeah.
And so when people come to fulfill, they bring a lot of stories. And I'm like, that might work with someone else.
Mm.
Because I coach thousands, I actually know what's really going on here. Do you mind? And then the dragon breath. But there's so much love and compassion, you know where it's coming from. But we share truth with people that no one else will tell them. No, and therein lies so much breakthrough because you can't lie and pretend that this program it won't work. It won't work. So for you to say that, it just set me off. Like you are completely right. We will tell you the truth every single time, even in the midst of your loss. We never thought, oh, we can't tell Stella she's hiding right now. And it makes sense, right? We're able to deal with both. We are mourning right there with you, but we also will not allow you to self-sabotage and then pretend like you're masking it with pain. Let's deal with pain and honor pain and grieve with you and all the things. And there are other things we did in the program for you, just given what you went through. And then still send that message, sis. You're gonna send the message.
Yeah.
So we're able to separate this lovingly and not let you hide under certain things. So it's a very unique space. It's hard for me sometimes to truly verbalize the level of compassion and transformation that happens in Fulfilled. And I believe you sharing your story so candidly with us will bless so many people. Just the way you turn pain to power. I just I'm just honored. Thank you for trusting us. Thank you for, you could have ghosted us. You had every reason to leave. And you said, I'm here. And as a result, you are now just, you've taken off. And this is just the beginning. There's so much more in you.
Yeah. Right. And that's what I am in awe about is that I know I'm not done.
Yeah.
I know I'm not done. And it's just like, wow. I continue to be amazed. I continue to be amazed at the work I put out and the things that I do and opportunities that I continue to get tapped for. That I'm like, moi? Me? Oh, okay. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
seeing that because I didn't see that myself. But yeah, I agree. I'll
That's
take
good.
that.
That's good. Stella, thank you so much
Thank you.
for this conversation. I can imagine people might want to reach out to you. We can put the handle in the comment section, whatever. But if you want to share where we can kind of hang out with you and follow you and learn more about you,
Yeah.
whether that's LinkedIn, whether that's Instagram, whatever.
Absolutely. Well, folks are welcome to follow me on Instagram, Stella Okeke Common. And my role is a DEI consultant, diversity, equity, inclusion consultant. I work with diversity at workplace, and we work with organizations in their DEI journey. And so I'm happy to talk with folks who are interested in this industry or interested in doing DEI, bringing DEI work into their organization. I shared my personal story, so anyone who has gone through pregnancy loss or any type of loss in all things 2020 and just needs to have a listening ear or just talk with someone, it's a very unique experience. And it's really helped me along my way finding other women who have different stories and going through the healing journey with them. So definitely making myself available for those who need support in that area as well. So happy to connect.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Stella. You are a light. You are a joy. You are incredible.
Thank you, EC. Thank you for you and your team at Fulfilled. I know you all know the impact that you are making, but I just first and foremost, thank you. Thank you for doing the work. Thank you for living in your purpose and your passion. And I am so excited for what you all continue to do for women and women of color. Um, I'm in awe and I have goosebumps and love seeing the stories and continue to see the stories and the journeys of women who go through this program. So thank you for everything that you do. And if I could ever be of any assistance or service to you all, please let me know. This is an impactful community and you all are doing the work that is so needed in this year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. And I can't leave this call without saying you have incredible cheekbones.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I can't leave this call without saying you have incredible cheekbones.
So do you. Look at you, mother of cheekbone.
Cheekbone twins. Your smile is just
Is the Nija.
But we will talk soon, Stella. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.